Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can get caught up on some of the latest news involving our favorite team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, and then get a take or an opinion, call it what you want, for each of those news items as the show progresses. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes. Hopefully this one gets on that list, and to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Hey, we are on the cusp of 9,000 subscribers, and when we get there, I will give the orange quarter zip a rest for just one show, and we will change the fit, and I think I already know what I'm going to wear. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll get to 9,000 subscribers, and we'll change up the fit for a day. Also, thank you to everyone who is a member of the Browns Latest Dog Pound, and to everyone who gets their comments into the viewer comment section for those healthy discussions that we have down there. Now, on today's show, we should have known that we couldn't get through the final preseason game without some drama from our quarterbacks. Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, both look really good. Shedeur Sanders, not so much. But it's not the end of the world. We'll break it all down. 2 questions were answered, and another one remains. When you look at this team as a whole, cut down day, the roster's got to be cut down by Tuesday. And I have a surprise one for you. I think one guy who everybody thought would be a great addition is not making this team. And in the viewer comments, why it didn't matter what Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders did yesterday. But first things first, it was quite a day. Everybody looking forward to getting the chance to see all 3 quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, play against the same team. Now, the Rams had a lot of, their 53-man roster pretty much settled, so it was a lot of twos that the Browns were facing, especially early on. It was our ones against twos. But Joe Flacco did what Joe Flacco does. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, he is locked in. He has been this way the entire camp. Here are the final quarterback stats. Dillon Gabriel led the way. He had the 12 and 19, most attempts, 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. The 1 touchdown. Flacco, 9 of 10. And the one miss was a ball that was a little low, but probably still should have been caught by Judy. So he could have easily been 10 for 10 with that touchdown. So Shedeur, there's his numbers. 3 for 6, 14 yards, and then Huntley, 1 for 1, 7 yards. But I'll tell you, let's talk about Flacco first. Thought he looked good. I told you he was good. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. I thought the first drive was killed by that drop we just mentioned. And then the third drive that he had was killed by the sack. And so, but in between, he was just marvelous. Like we mentioned, 9 for 10. And on 3rd and 9, he found Dylan Sampson on that little pick pass screenplay, call it what you want. He rumbled for 14 yards, and then found Harold Fannin Jr. on that skinny post for the touchdown. That was a P that he threw. So you just see, we talked about it on this show, just how the ball comes out of his hand like a rocket. And so they look good. I don't have any complaints about what I saw. For the first time, the ones being out there, all together in a preseason game. There were a couple little, hiccups here or there, but for the most part, that's what you're going to get, folks. It's going to be, we saw play action. We saw it all. And so this offense, for a complete game, should be able to control the clock. They should be able to move the ball. Ethan Posick got hurt. Hopefully, it's a minor injury. They took him in. It made it sound like he didn't want to come out. But anyway, they're not risking it in a preseason game. So hopefully he's okay. Luke Whippler came in for him. Then Gabriel took over, and folks, I call it like I see it. He built off of what he did against the Eagles. He eliminated the mistakes, no interceptions, but. He went. That second drive is what everybody's talking about. The 2-minute drill, 9 for 11. And he hit that thrash for a 16-yarder. Down to the 3. That was a heck of a throw. And then Larvidan got the touchdown and gave the Browns a 9-point lead at 16-7. But I was just impressed with how quickly the ball was getting out of his hands. But I'll say this. The play calls were made for him. I mean, throwing those out, because that one ball he threw in the middle of the field, the ball got tipped, and he about got Larvadan killed because it was overthrown. And that's been one of the knocks on him throughout camp. When he misses high, and his receivers have to try and climb the ladder and get it, and they end up getting bent. And so we saw it there. So there's, if you want to pick them apart, that's the one negative that he had. But the rest of it, all looked good. I mean, he was on time and on target and did not waste any time. Got the ball out of his hands, and they moved the ball. 2 scoring drives, got the field goal and the touchdown. So he looked really good. But in the end, to me, he still looks like a backup. I still can't get it out of my head. I keep telling you, left-handed Colt McCoy, very reliable, somebody you can count on if you lose your starter. So I'd be comfortable with him. Maybe not right now, not right at this moment. If we had to call on him against Cincinnati, I don't know. Although Cincinnati's defense is so bad, I think I could come in at quarterback against Cincinnati week 1 and throw a couple of touchdowns. So I think Dillon Gabriel proved to everybody, and I gotta say it, folks. I mean, he proved me wrong. That was his show me day for like he has his day against the Eagles. I thought he looked solid. The 2 turnovers were the big blemishes, and I knew everybody would be talking about that. But you gotta give him credit. I mean, he came out and after he said what he said, after whoever he was talking about after the game last week. A lot of eyes on him, a lot of talk about him, a lot of pressure, and he went out and delivered. So I can't. You have to give him his flowers. I mean, he looked great. And for us in Cleveland and the search for the quarterbacks that we have gone through, like, it is a blessing to see 2 quarterbacks go out there consecutively and do what they did in Flacco and Gabriel. Now, then Shedeur takes over, and we thought he was going to get the whole second half, but It just wasn't good from the start. And I kept thinking, I'm like, are all these receivers covered? They looked like these were a lot of coverage sacks. 5 sacks for Shedeur. And then, scramble drill started. And unfortunately, all of the things that he kept getting knocked on, holding on to the ball too long, running backwards, trying too hard to extend these plays and not getting rid of the ball. All of that was in play yesterday. And so was the offense. I agree with Ocho Cinco. The offensive line that he had in front of him was far from the best. I thought the play calls were questionable because I was like, why do we keep trying to throw the ball downfield? I felt like we set him up to lose a little bit. Where, Dillon Gabriel had a lot of those quick passes, those slants, those outs, ball was out of his hand. That's where I thought, why wouldn't we just stay with that with Shedeur? We didn't. But with Shedeur, he had to get rid of the ball. I mean, some of those times, you cannot take these sacks, especially when you're going to lose 24 yards. I mean, you got to get rid of the ball. It's the NFL. These guys, you're not running away from these guys. You're just not. They're the best in the world, and so, and that's why I don't think this is the end of the world. I think Shedeur needed to get a little bit of a taste of that because everything went so well against Carolina. Now he got a little bit of adversity, and now he got a taste of, yes, this isn't going to work for you every single time. So you have to be ready for it. And this is why we tell you have to throw away some of these passes and just live for the next play. But like I said, I'm with Ocho Cinco a little bit. Like, the play calling, I thought, was suspect. A lot of the times. I'm like, I don't understand why we're trying to throw the ball 12, 15 yards down the field on every play because nobody was open. And so, why not throw a screen, throw some hitches, throw some slants, tight end drag, tight end pops, I don't know, something quick, get it out of his hands and get something going. And it didn't seem that way. And then I disagree with taking him out of for the 2-minute drill. I mean, after everything that went on, because now it's going to be those quick passes. Because that's what Gabriel benefited from that 2-minute drill because the 2-minute drill is designed to get the ball out of your hands. They're quick passes. Get the ball out of your hands. You work the sidelines. Like, it was made for him. So of course he's going to, have a lot of success doing that. I thought Shedeur deserved that chance. And to pull him for a guy who's not even going to make the team, I thought that was kind of low. I 100% disagreed with that, and I thought you could have gotten Shedeur out the door on a high note. He could have led that drive that led to the game-winning field goal. So I 100% disagree with the move to take him out, and I don't know. That didn't sit well with me. I thought he should have had his chance to lead the team. So. Like I said, I'm always glass half full guy. And I always told the kids, you celebrate the wins, you learn from the losses. So this is going to be a huge learning experience. I'm telling you, all 4 quarterbacks are going to be on the roster. So that's not even a concern. Like that, he is our developmental quarterback of the future. So he'll keep working, as the year goes along. Dylan Gabriel, he is not a starter in this league. It's just not sustainable. 5'11", left-handed. Just not sustainable. Good backup. But we need that. I mean, you need somebody you can rely on. That's why Colt McCoy lasted so long in this league. So, but like I said, I thought the play calls were a little suspect when Shedeur was in there, and I think he should have had the 2-minute drill at the end. So that's where I'm at on that. But what about the team as a whole? Now, 2 questions are answered. I mean, I've been telling you for months and months and months, this defense is legit. And yes, I know it was Dresser Wynn. Who? Dresser Wynn at quarterback for the Rams. And so, but they did what was completely expected of them. Listen to this. When the Browns ones were in there, they were in there for 11 plays. 13 yards the Rams were able to accumulate. 0 for 3 on third down, and negative net passing yards from our man Dresser Wynn. So, but that's what they should do against Dresser Wynn. They look great. Isaiah McGuire looked great. Alex Wright looked great. Mason Graham looked great. That defensive line looked ridiculous. And so this defense is legit, folks, and it's going to keep us in a lot of games. The other thing that I don't even know was a question, but if there was a question about our punting situation, there is no question. Corey Bojorquez is like a cyborg or something. He averaged over 50 yards a kick in the preseason, and he had a couple of 62-yarders yesterday, including the one that he stuck at the 1 like a pro golfer with a lob wedge and rolled it back to the 5. Like, this guy is like, I don't know. He may not be from this planet, Corey Bojorquez. I'm just glad he's on our team because, gosh, man, that is just one thing you don't have to worry about. But what you do have to worry about is our kicking situation because Dusty Hopkins did it again. You can't miss these extra points. And then you saw who got the game winner at the end. It was our man Schmidt. So here's the thing. I don't think they're going to get rid of Hopkins, though, because they paid him. So, I mean, but this is hopefully, we can keep Schmidt on the practice squad or keep him around or something because I like what I see of him. Here's what I'll say. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave up on Hopkins because I don't want to go through what we went through last year. So, but that's something to watch come Tuesday. What was also great to watch is this team as a whole is you got a chance to see how this team could really work. The offense stalls on that first drive. Then you get the great punt from Bojorquez, pins them deep. The defense does what they do, keeps them pinned deep. Punt, great field position. Flacco, boop, boop, boo, right down the field, and we're into the end zone for a touchdown. So the defense setting up the offense, which we never saw that last year because the offense was always stalling deep in our own territory, and the defense always had the pressure on them, and that's why we gave up so many points because they're on the field for so long. But I think that was a carbon copy of what you're going to see a lot this season. Even if the offense sputters for a drive or two, the defense is just so good. It's going to get you the ball back. You're going to get you're going to get extra chances on offense because of this defense. And the same thing with Bojorquez. I mean, if he's going to be, he can pin teams deep like that, and then we let our defense tee off. I mean, that's just going to set our offense up to win. And speaking of the offense, how about Fannin, Njoku? You got to see them both yesterday. How about Fannin lining up at fullback? Like, and this is the thing, folks. This is why, and we're going to get to my bold prediction on who's getting cut from this wide receiver crew. Fannin is probably going to be used more so as a second wide receiver in some of these sets. So consider him a wide receiver / tight end. I mean, and you saw that skinny post that he ran, I mean, like I said, they put him all over the place. And we even saw it against the Eagles. They're running gadget plays with him and things like that. That Bowling Green product is going to be fun to watch, and that connection with Flacco and Njoku already. We said we were looking for it, and we saw it, and he found Judy, and so there are weapons on this offense. You saw Sampson get involved, Jerome Ford. They're hitting him on swing passes, like I love. That's where I love to see him getting the ball out in space, and so I think the team as a whole looks so much better. I think there's a different vibe going into this season based on, where last season ended. I would say this. Like, okay, even this with the defense. Even when the Rams were gifted that fresh set of downs on that BS celebration call, they call it, the finger under the nose. You're not allowed to put your finger under your nose. So I guess you're not allowed to go shh anymore. When you make a sack, you can't celebrate a sack. So even when they got a whole fresh set of downs, the defense still just shut them down. Yes, Dresser win, I get it, but still, they did what they needed to do. And if there's a knock on this defense at this point, here's what I would say. Because we're so aggressive sometimes we get beat on that misdirection or those jet sweeps, things like that. But they beat us once on the jet sweep. We didn't get beat twice. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They didn't get fooled twice. So, that's the only knock. We're so aggressive. Little misdirection could mess us up for a play or two, but this defense is going, especially early in the season, this defense will lead the charge and set up the offense. And so as a whole, I mean, I like what I see with. I think we are going to surprise a lot of people. Okay, so what is next? So today, head coach Kevin Stefanski, well, he probably watched the tape all night. And he'll talk about it on the Zoom today. And then tomorrow, no availability, so to be quiet. This is like a regular week now because they'll be back at it on Tuesday. Now, during the season, they have film on Mondays after the Sunday game and then off Tuesday and then practice Wednesday, Thursday. But they will practice on Tuesday, but that's the big day because that's cut down day. Kevin Stefanski and some players will be available on Tuesday. But Tuesday's the big day. It's roster cut down day. And I think that Deontay Johnson is not going to be on this team. I would be surprised if he is because I think they're going to go with the youth movement. You heard Barry say it. The same thing with the quarterbacks. Okay, let's start there. All 4 quarterbacks are making this roster. Barry talked about it. He was making the rounds yesterday. He went to the radio. He was on the TV. He was everywhere. He said he views the back end of the roster as developmental spots. So that's why I think you've seen enough from guys like Gage Larvidan, Jamari Thrash, Tillman. They love Tillman. You have Judy. DeAndre Carter's here to return kicks. Now you got Isaiah Bond in the fold. I think once they got Bond in the fold, that was the beginning of the end for Deontay Johnson. So who knows that maybe he has enough on tape to latch on with somebody else. But I will not be surprised if Deontay Johnson is not on this team because why not go with the youth movement and just keep developing these guys that you have, guys that have shown a lot in this training camp. Why do I say all 4? Because they did it last year. All four quarterbacks are going to be on this roster. And here's the thing, everybody. I told you this yesterday. Kenny Pickett's still the backup quarterback. I'm telling you right now. It's going to probably come out this week that his hamstring's better and he's going to be the second. I'm telling you, he's going to be QB2. If that doesn't happen, I'd be surprised too. Like that's what I'm saying. All of this is falling into place. And so I think Aiden Huntington on the defensive side makes this team. I thought he was great yesterday. The other question is the kicking. We talked about it. Will they stay with Dusty Hopkins? I think they do, but gosh, I don't like that uneasy feeling now when he comes out there because you're not sure. Well, Schmidt comes out, I think, all right, here we go, let's go. Like he kicks with confidence. And right now, Dusty Hopkins is picking up where he left off last year, and that's not good. So, again, if Dusty Hopkins, they let him go, I would not be surprised. But I don't think they're going to let him go because they paid him. They still have 1 year on that contract. So, the other question mark that needs to be answered is the slot corner. And it should be Miles Harden. Now, he dropped a pick yesterday. That's, I mean, what did I always say? Well, he'd be a wide receiver if he wasn't a defensive back because they usually can't catch. But, you know, but he played well. He had one against the Eagles, so he's probably going to be that slot corner. Greg Newsome will take over on the outside. Martin Emerson getting hurt, so I think everybody's safe there. So the cut downs, and there'll be trades involved. Like a lot of stuff's going to happen over the next few days between now and a Tuesday. Whether it's cuts, guys get cut, guys get picked up, and we make trades, or there's going to be a lot happening. It's almost silly season 2.0 when you get the cut down day in the NFL, but we will be watching for sure. Now, viewer comments, they're always on the roster. Never have to fear cut down day. And we'll start with C Wolf 575, who says, I watched the Browns game against the Rams. He says, now that we saw both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in action against the same team and a team with a decent defense, although those were a lot of backups, we get to see a better comparison. Dillon Gabriel, 2 series, 129 passing yards, 12 of 14, 63.5% completion, 1 touchdown, no interception, no sacks. Shedeur Sanders, 5 series, 4 were 3 and out, 14 passing yards, 3 for 6, 50% completion, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And he brings up again the 5 sacks. Which one looked like the more professional quarterback, asks Seawolf. The steady one that manages the game or the flashy player that runs backwards and gets sacked? Now, like I said, you can't argue with any of that. It's all true, but I will say this. I thought the play calls for Shedeur, especially with that offensive line in front of him, thought we could have called plays that would have gotten the ball out of his hands a little faster, like set him up to win. I don't think we did that. And then I 100% disagree with pulling him on the 2-minute drill. I'm a big guy. You got to end on a good one. That's another thing I always do with the kids. Like, always end on a good one. You're doing a drill, right? You're doing some shooting drill or something. You don't end on a miss. You end on a good one. You got to end on a good one. And I thought they should have let Shedeur end on a good one. Didn't like that. Haywood Armstrong, Jr., 898. How about this? This was like a bold prediction that he made. And he sent this before the game. He said, Flacco will score within 5 minutes on their first possession unless the defense scores first. Go Browns. I'm like, he almost spoke that into existence because not only did Flacco pretty much do that, but, Harden's pick could have put, that could have been a defensive score. They almost had the sack in the end zone too. That would have been a defensive score. But Haywood Armstrong Jr., you got to start sending me picks, man. The regular season starts September 7th. I need picks from you, man, every week. I'm going with your picks because it sounds like you might be from the future and you just come back to us, and let us know what's going to happen. But that was great, Haywood Armstrong Jr. That was a great, great take. Adam Wareheim H6Q7W says, and this is what we teased at the top. It doesn't matter what Gabriel or Sanders did in that game. The coaches already made up their minds about who they like for the backup spot and on the depth chart. And in 100% correct. That's what I'm saying, folks. I think Dillon Gabriel is still QB3. Shedeur will be QB4 developmental. He won't be on the practice squad. All 4 will be on the roster. Pickett will be QB2, but I think the goal will be to trade Pickett. The problem is he hasn't been able to get on the field. So if he does get on the field and shows signs of anything, then they can't move on until somebody can look at him and go, all right, yeah, it looks pretty good. You're not going to buy a car without driving it or at least seeing it on the road, right? You're not just going to take my word for it. So that's where I think they're at with Pickett. But Pickett's QB2. I'm telling you, just wrap your head around it. Pickett's QB2. I would be shocked if Dillon Gabriel was QB2. I would be completely shocked and Pickett was 3. It's not going to happen. Kenneth Janet Napper, 4285, says, I think the Browns are doing their best to bury Shedeur on the depth chart. His only hope is the fans demand that he plays sometime during the season or he gets an opportunity with the Browns. Here's the thing about Shedeur. Remember, we heard Haslam say a few weeks ago, both rookies will get a chance. at some point this season. Now, that is unless Flacco's leading us to the Super Bowl. But they never viewed either one of these guys as QB1. They felt like they would just develop them along the way, and they always viewed everything I'm seeing and hearing. They view Gabriel as a backup. So that's where we're at. So Shedeur has every opportunity in the world to jump him. He's not going anywhere. And Andrew Berry likes to develop those guys at the back end of the roster. So, and we'll end on Val Green, who says, I've never watched preseason games. And that's what I'm taking away from this. I mean, all the ups and downs, all the stuff we've been through in this training camp with this quarterback battle. And I mean, it was like a soap opera. And I've never cared so much about preseason games than I have this year. And so it was almost like I got the football season started earlier this year, because normally it doesn't start until week 1. But man, oh man, this training camp, like, football is fun, people. Like, just have fun with it. Don't take it so seriously. Shedeur will get his chance if you're a Shedeur fan. But I'm a Browns fan, and I want my team to win. I want my team to be respected. I'm tired of my team being the joke of the NFL. I want respect for my team. Number one, I want this team to win. Joe Flacco right now gives us that best chance. This defense is legit. We have a punter who is an android. Our kicking game needs to be sorted out. The offensive line is okay, and I think is going to be fine because of the backups that we have. Because now when somebody gets hurt, you don't have to, it always seemed like one guy got hurt on an offensive line and we fall apart. It doesn't feel like that anymore. I want my team to win. That is what this podcast is about. This is a Browns podcast, and Shedeur's on the Browns, and we love him. But we want our team to win. Win first. Go Browns. We'll see you next time.